I'm not taking that. He dipped his cigarette into a little ashtray on the metal table, letting the red-hot cinders fall into it. The room was stoic, sucked dry of color and only containing one dull, hanging light above the centerpiece. Or Hansen's request, of course. We're not taking that, more specifically. The alien was tall. Its skin was blue and its fingers were long, but more striking than anything, its eyes were pitch-black ovals. They seemed to be plucked out from the universe itself, small little doors into the oblivion of space, wondrous and cosmic. Mr. Hansen. Its voice maintained the same perfect pitch with every utterance, and there was no pausing for breathing, no wait in between sentences, just one constant stream of sound, everything evenly and perfectly spaced. I'm sorry if you misunderstand, but this meeting isn't to strike deals. It's to make you aware. A courtesy. Yeah. He used his free hand to rub out a wrinkle in his black suit. He was sitting sideways, legs crossed and cigarette hand resting on his knee, as casual as going out for a Friday pint. We're aware, and we're not taking it. The thing blinked its silky orbs. Most will live. Those who resist won't. This is all very simple, Mr. Hansen, and not up for negotiation. Yeah, you said that earlier. He titled his head up and took a long draw of the cigarette. The thing couldn't scowl, but Hansen had the feeling that if it could, it would be. Then we're done, hey. No, see, I think you missed something there, buddy. He uncrossed his legs and put his elbows on the table. I think you missed what I had just said. It doesn't matter. Its anger was becoming more noticeable. This is not a negotiation, Mr. Hansen. You already said that, too. Then we're done. Thank you. What's your threat? He said it loud, puffing out his chest and leaning back into his chair. Every gamble needs a good hand. You know what I mean? Do you all gamble? It tilted its head, slightly stunned by the obvious question. What's the threat? Yeah, what you got? Mr. Hansen, I feel I need not remind you that we have this planet surrounded. Thousands of ships at the ready. Thousands of ships ready to kill at a moment's notice. See, he waved his cigarette hand in the air. This is what's confusing me, Bluey. Can I, you Bluey? It didn't answer. Here's what confusing me, Bluey. You say that, you tell me all this mumbo, and all it makes me think is, he puffed the cigarette, this motherfucker doesn't know shit about humans. Now, I'd love to be wrong about that. I'd love for you to say that I'm wrong here. The thing looked at him for a long time, either thinking or simply stewing in its own rising anger. You're making a fool of yourself, Mr. Hansen. Let me tell you a story, Ole Blue. He straightened his tie. It's really relevant to your situation. Mind to indulge me? No answer. See, we're humans. We do this thing called war a lot, and one time I heard the story of this tough Ole general, real motherfucker. Know what I mean? Well, this Ole shit, he was deep in the jungle, deep in the shit of it. He had been told to go out and find the enemy, and the poor bastard spent months with nothing. Just hell, you know? Just in the jungle and hating it. He repositioned himself and twisted to the other side of the chair. Oh, sorry, Ole Bluey, the jungle is this bastard of a place. Hot and humid, bugs and all that shit. No fun, you'd hate it. Trust me. Your point, Mr. Hansen. Glad you asked, Ole buddy. You see, after months in the Hell's Cape, the general was in his tent, planning and shit. Rain coming down like hell, because it always rains in the jungle, and a little lieutenant came rushing into the tent. He rushed in and with a squeaky voice screamed out, "General, good God, we have a problem." The general, being a stoic fella, stood up and said, "Well, out with it." Then with a panting voice, hands on his knees and all that jazz, he screamed out, "General, we found the enemy, and they have us surrounded. Now!" He put his elbows back on the table, waving his hands in the air to add to the story. This is the part that I think is relevant to you, Ole Blue. Notice how similar of a situation I am in to that old general from the story. Mr. Hansen, you're wasting my time. Now, almost done. So, that little Ole lieutenant had said, "They have us surrounded." And you want to know what that general said to him? He leaned in over the table, as close as he could get without leaving his chair. He looked deep into those large black eyes, challenging their depth, challenging their immensity, daring them to try and swallow him. Wanna know, old Blue? What? He reached out with wide arms and yelled with glee. Finally! I've been looking everywhere for those bastards. Slowly the words turned over in the alien's head. Slowly they morphed and found meaning. And as they did, as everything started to make sense, Hansen saw it. He saw those big pitful eyes turn into something else. No more were they infinite and deep, no more were they cosmic and incredible. No, now Hansen saw it clear as day. He saw exactly what he'd been looking for. There it is. He smiled. There's a fay. He fired the pistol that he'd been hiding under the table, shooting it straight up through the piece of furniture and into the alien's head, splitting it open and scattering buckets of blue blood across the room. With a quick breath, he stood up, brushing off some of the blood and nodding his head with slight bemusement. He looked towards the door just as it began to open, just as some other suited men peeked in with curious eyes. Boys! He lit another cigarette. Time to get to work.